Okay, welcome back, family and students of Earth School. It's that man, Luther Wilson III, the real estate extraordinaire. Okay, most of y'all know what it is. I'm representing for Upside Property Services and the affiliate companies here in the Kansas City market, getting to it. And today is Tuesday, April 28th, 2026. Already, let's go. I hope you've had an amazing start to the week. Okay. I want to drop a few gems about funding and financing for real estate investing. Okay. So for those that don't know, I'm a real estate broker, real estate investor. Most everything that I do has to deal with investment properties. Okay. So from not only finding deals, okay, off market or on market, the funding and the financing, okay, closing those deals, okay, getting through renovation projects, getting through refis, okay, getting through resales, and then also seller financing, creative financing. These are all things that I've had to do and learn along the way throughout my career as I have been, helping everyday home buyers and home sellers, helping investors get to it, and then also myself alongside partners and backers doing my own deals, growing my own portfolio. So this is real estate investing. Those are the different facets of it. And I get into each of those topics and more on my YouTube channel. For those that want to learn more, you can get on there and type in Luther Wilson III, and you'll see me chopping it up once again about the capital, the strategy, and the operations. Okay. I'm pretty active here on Facebook as well as on LinkedIn and Instagram. Okay. So you can see different posts, videos, me talking about that stuff and more. But in today's quick little message, okay, I want to talk more about funding and financing. Okay. In particular for real estate investors. Okay. Because there are, some misconceptions, misunderstandings about it, let alone what it's really like owning real estate and investing real estate. So I want to drop some gems and hopefully, clear some things up for the investors out there, for those service providers out there who are working with investors, and then those on the sidelines who are wanting to get back in the game, or maybe you're looking to do your first deal. Okay. Hopefully this will be helpful to you. Okay. So when it comes to funding and financing for real estate investments, there's different types. Okay. And oh, by the way, I myself have used the various types of funding. To date, I have used funding from 15 different outfits. Okay. Those 15, some of those were, DSCR or non-QM loans, the long-term 30-year fixed rate mortgages, as some of y'all are familiar with. And also of those 15, some of them were private individuals. Some of them simply backers who loaned me and my partner's money, or it was me using a business partner's money. Okay. And then I've also used second lien debt on a long-term basis. Of course, somebody's calling me right now. Hold on. Bear with me. Okay, I think we're still rolling. All right, so yeah, I've borrowed money from 15 different outfits. Some of them private individuals, some of them institutional capital, some of it second lien position debt, some of it long term, some of it short term. Okay. But when it comes to investing in real estate, my favorite thing, my MO, along with a lot of my clients and partners and associates, a lot of us, have been more focused, not just on doing a deal, but more so on growing an investment portfolio that produces revenue or cash flow on an ongoing basis, monthly, quarterly, yearly type thing. It may be in some of your minds passive. A lot of times it's not really passive, but I like to think of it as more residual and income that is unearned. Okay, that's been one of my number one objectives since before I could remember, right? Since I was a kid, since I was a teenager, right? And so I bring this up because not only have I had the privilege to borrow from multiple people and outfits and companies to help do my own deals and, grow my portfolio, but I'm also tapped in with a number of mortgage brokers, private money lenders, of course, the hard money lenders all day long, right? And even individuals who are, in some cases, not all the time, but in some rare cases, willing to do second lien position debt that might even be on a long-term basis that's fully amortized, that is, not just interest only. Like, I like the fully amortized, long-term funding, no prepayment penalty, no balloon type shit. You feel me? I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but I want to bring this up because this is serious right now. In quarter number 2, 2026, a lot of investors and service providers, we have to figure this shit out if we want to keep going, right? We may be in this pattern for God knows how long, economically, socially, geopolitically. Okay, we may have to deal with this same shit that we've been dealing with for a while. Okay, so I'm hoping, to educate, inspire, collaborate, as I usually say, shedding some light on what it's really like to invest in real estate, to own real estate, to place capital, to get through a renovation, to get through a refi, to the resale, to the, my background is in property management. As some of y'all know, I talk about this stuff over and over again. So hopefully I'm, able to get my point through so people could see that I'm not full of shit and that I'm serious about what I feel called to do on planet Earth here. I'm just saying. So the funding and the financing is key. Not just if you want to do a deal. It's different if you just want to wholesale, hotel, fix and flip, get in and out, right? In that case, you can get away with some different things, okay? Whereas on the flip side, if you want to buy and hold and create wealth in a different manner via real estate, maybe via equity plays or cash flow, 1031 exchanges in the future, growing your portfolio, residential, maybe some of y'all multifamily commercial type shit too. You get the idea. There's differences between like the types of funding that you can use based on your strategy. All right. For a lot of investors that want to grow a portfolio, it's not necessarily as conducive to use short-term debt that's interest only at a higher interest rate that's going to need to be completely paid back and settled within 6 to 12 months. Okay. Using that over and over again, in fact, was in some cases detrimental to my portfolio growth, which is part of the reason I went through some stuff the last couple of years. You've heard me talk about it. Anyway, and I did a post. Another reason I'm bringing this up is because I've gotten some decent feedback. I did a Facebook post a couple days ago, letting the community, letting people on social media know that, hey, me, along with a number of my associates, fellow investors here in the Kansas City market, are looking for certain types of funding. Some people reached out and said, yeah, we got options. And I've borrowed from 15 different outfits, so I'm pretty familiar with the outfits and the types of funding, and I've been able to help, I don't know, at least 30 different, maybe not 30, but at least 20 different investors with their funding over the last few years. Okay, one of my business partners is a mortgage broker. Even she can't assist me with some of the types of funding that I'm looking for in order to continue my growth and my trajectory. Okay, because, again, I don't want to get too carried away, but there's a lot there. And so if you want to fix and flip, right? If you want to wholesale or wholesale, okay, 100% financing on a short-term basis may work out very well, which is what a lot of investors are doing, which a lot of investors have to do until we figure out, how we can more efficiently get through that process, or how we can figure out how we can better raise different types of capital that we could use on a long-term basis. I hope this makes sense. Come on, y'all. Give me some feedback. I get a lot of people that watch these videos, and I only get a few people chiming in, only a few people liking it, and I get it. Like, if you want to research and study, at least show me some love, okay? But I mentioned that I was looking for potentially second lien position debt, in some cases first lien position debt, that is going to be secured by the real estate investment. Means that it's going to be recorded on the public records. So if I fumble the bag or my client fumbles the bag, you get the fucking property. But we're looking for long-term funding. It could be a backer. It could be, in that case, it'd be more like a joint venture partnership, or it could be a private money lender. Okay, which in that case, right, they're not necessarily in on the deal as an owner of the deal, hypothetically, on paper rather. And that's another thing that I want to clear up before I get too carried away again. If somebody is offering you 100% financing, okay, it sounds pretty cool, right? But what's the catch, right? I feel like I need to get a t-shirt or maybe a hoodie, and on that hoodie or t-shirt, I'm going to have the words, what's the catch? That's like been my saying the last couple years, because there's a lot of different opportunities that have come up, and a lot of people want to do business with me for obvious reasons, right? And I'm like, okay, someone presents a certain opportunity to me, right? I may not necessarily always come out and tell them. In some cases I have. I'm like, I'll text somebody back and I'll say, what's the catch? But in my head, I'm pretty much always thinking that. What am I going to have to give up? What is their angle? What am I going to have to sacrifice, right? In my mind, knowing what I know, having gone through what I've gone through, the experiences that I've had as a human being and a business owner and a real estate professional, right? I've prayed daily for the last 2 years for discernment, and lo and behold, God's granted it. And now some of y'all wonder why y'all got blocked. Some of y'all wonder why I don't fuck with y'all no more. Some of y'all wonder why I stopped going to the meetups. Okay. Again, you may get the idea eventually, but I started to see through a lot of the stuff. It was the same story over and over again. It was the same hard money loan program. It was the same mortgage broker. It was the same property manager, the same you get the idea. I've met and talked with thousands of people. Shit, I still drive Uber almost every day. I feel like, the discernment that God has granted me this year and last year has been amazing. But it's a gift, but it's also kind of a curse if you get it, if you know, right? But, I digress. I got off track. If someone is offering you, the whole point I wanted to mention about the funding and financing, right? If someone's offering you 100% financing and they can close within a week or maybe a couple of days, right? You have to understand, some of these private money lenders and hard money lenders have actually built a good portion of their investment portfolio, their long-term holdings, by issuing capital to people that default on them. Marinate on that. Okay, so really, if someone offers me a certain type of funding, right, and it seems really good, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if it sounds really sweet, I need to reframe it. And it might help some of y'all if y'all reframe it as well, thinking okay, this person, if they're willing to offer me this, what's their angle? What's the catch? Okay, they might as well be my boss or my business partner. In fact, depending on how you look at it, essentially they are. Shit, if you're working a job and they give you 40 to 60 hours a week and they pay you every 2 weeks, they're essentially your partner. In a way, if you look at it a certain way, right? They just may not come out and say it, okay? But for certain types of funding, like I mentioned, there are outfits that know good and damn well that a lot of investors, and it's not all bad. I'm starting to see the good with the bad for whatever it's worth. They're giving people an opportunity to rehab 100-year-old homes in the hood when you may not be able to get that funding elsewhere. So these lenders, it's a valuable service, just like the wholesalers, right? I don't agree with everything that they do, but I do have to admit that it is a valuable service. Okay, so, truth be told, right? These are valuable services, but it's not all good. It's not all bad, right? But it's not all good either. And so I'm hopefully encouraging y'all to, see through what it is so that maybe you can miss some of the pitfalls that me and my associates and partners and clients have had to go through, right? So you don't have to walk away from $1 million worth of investments, or you don't have to, start over again with a different business partner, whatever. You get what I'm saying. So the funding and the financing, it's critical. I've said it before and I'll continue to say it. The type of funding, the type of capital that we have access to on the front end very well determines how we can place it and how we can invest and how we can do our deals, right? There's a reason that a lot of wholesalers and investors fix and flip, right? It's because it's a valuable service and they're making buku bucks off of investors that don't know any better or that don't want to put the time and energy and money into doing that type of company or service. Morally, immorally, ethically, unethically, honestly, or, however it shakes. There's deals being done every single day, every single moment, right? Okay, so I'm starting to look at things a little bit different myself, right? Respectfully, disrespectfully, honorably, dishonorably. You get the idea. Money's moving hands, right? Deals are being done. But, again, you got to determine how you want to play the game, your strategy based on your long-term goals. Do you want to manage a team of salespeople, or do you want to manage a bunch of rentals, or do you want to do seller financing and do notes, right? Are you cool with not, getting much cash flow, but growing your equity, holding rentals over time? Or would you prefer a little bit more cash flow, doing seller financing or private lending, but you don't get so much of the benefits of the taxes and the equity over time? We got to choose our battles, baby. But again, reach out if you want to learn more. The funding is huge, baby. So you got to think about that. I want to reiterate, if somebody's offering you something, in this situation, right, a lender offering you funding, in their head, they know, a lot of them know, some of them may not know, but a lot of them know that even though they don't own that property, or they're, quote, they may not be on the deed, if they're funding all of it, they have a strong interest in that. You might as well call them your boss or your partner, as I mentioned before, and reframe the whole thing. Because if you fumble the bag, like I said before, you're going to walk away with nothing. Either no money, right? Or no fucking property. And unfortunately, that's what's happening to a lot of investors the last couple of years. So this is, not only, supposed to be encouraging, but cautionary as well. I've gone through some similar stuff. It is what it is. So we got to be strategic. We got to have good funding. We got to operate like business owners, baby. So let's get to it. It's Luther Wilson III. Appreciate you tuning in. I know I went a little bit longer today, but I feel like it's timely. The funding and financing is massive. So tap in if you need assistance with that or want to learn more about it. It's something that I'm constantly looking at now and figuring out, okay, cool, like so-and-so offered money, but do I even want that type of money? You got to figure that out based on your strategy and so forth, like I said before. So anyway, signing off, baby. Appreciate you tuning in. Have a blessed one. All right.